sometimes. Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I want to be a part of it. New York, New York. If I can make it there, ooh, baby, I can make it anywhere. New York, New York. That's my Tony Bennett rendition of the song. Tell me in the comments, for goodness sake, tell me if this broadcast is clear. And Real Housewives of Zambia, is that a show? I mean, I've heard of Real Housewives of Atlanta. I've heard of Real Housewives of Australia. That might not be true. But I've never heard Real Housewives of Zambia. Tell me in the comments if that's an actual show on television. Please educate me. Guys, it's a beautiful Wednesday. Is today Wednesday? I think it is. It's got to be Wednesday. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning. It's just now gone, 10:55. I might be a minute late. And you know, I try everything within my power to bring it down to the wire, to make sure that I come to you and I give you the very best of what I have. And as you know, you guys have no idea what it's like being me out here for you. It is an up and down, pride swallowing siege that I will never fully tell you about, okay? That's a line from Jerry Maguire. You should watch that. Best Tom Cruise film I've ever seen. Incidentally, speaking of movies, Robert Redford left us yesterday. Did you guys know this? Robert Redford was a very famous American actor. I first came to the knowledge of who Robert Redford was when he starred opposite Demi Moore and Woody Harrelson. They did a film together called Indecent Proposal. And I remember in those days, I was a student in the States, and I remember the debate that film sparked. And for those of you that do not know anything about the film Indecent Proposal, once again, it starred Robert Redford. He was the marquee. He was the guy on the marquee. He was headlining because he was the big star, you know. And then there was Demi Moore, who was, at the time that the film came out, she was sort of coming into her own, and she had established herself as a Hollywood actress, you know. And then there's Woody Harrelson, who's brilliant. That ensemble cast of that film, Indecent Proposal, oh my goodness, it sparked a nationwide debate that still rages to this day. And this was the debate. The film basically was about a rich man that offered a couple, a married couple, played by Demi Moore and Woody Harrelson. This rich man offered this couple $1 million for him to sleep with his wife, to have one night with his wife. Now, they were not going to be playing drafts that night. Let's just be clear, okay? They were not going to be playing pool. Well, not that type of pool anyway. This rich man offered this couple this money. And the debate was, would you accept that type of offer? If somebody offered you as a couple, not in secret, not discreetly, a wealthy billionaire sat in front of you and your wife and said, look, I've got $1 million here. I will give you this $1 million if you give me one night with your wife. You would be shocked at the answers that came out. So many people said, honey, for $1 million, I will do anything, he says. And these were wives saying this. But the reason I brought that up is because Robert Redford, you know, he starred in this film, and it was a huge hit. Of course, this was before the internet as we know it today. You know, I mean, this was back when movies made good money at the box office. And that film was a big hit. Well, my point is, that was when I first saw and heard about Robert Redford. I didn't know at the time that by the time he had shot and made the film Indecent Proposal, he was already a huge, big star. You know, I watched him for the first time, and I remember watching it thinking, who is this guy? Because he had an aura about him. He had star quality royalty about him. And so yesterday, Robert Redford passed, and I think he was 89. Tell me in the comments if I got the age right. And we're beginning to hear more people leave because, you know, I mean, this is our generation of people are just sort of phasing out, you know, and in about 40, 50 years, I'm not going to be here. Somebody else is going to be sitting in this chair, you know. By and by. Sing it with me. When the morning comes, all the saints of God are gathered home. We will tell the story how we overcame. We'll understand it better by and by. And then they're going to talk about us when we die. You know, so Robert Redford, thank you for the many years of entertainment that you gave us as the human race, and God bless you for your contribution in the arts of film, movie making, and Nefyashala. All right, guys, I'm over here at Simoson Building, plot number 8585 on Simon Mwewa Lane, the corner of Lucia and Simon. Incidentally, guys, have you noticed that I've changed the way I sort of do my hand motions? I try to avoid pointing. Pointing is not good. It's confrontational. It's abrasive. It's sort of, you know, it's antisocial to point. So I've resorted to do this when I speak. And if I want to sort of draw attention to you, I'll maybe do this or do that, but not to point. I'm changing, I am, and I feel a lot better for it. I do. Let's get into it. A couple of things I want to talk to you about. First of all, did you guys know? Now, this is Demulomoyo. This I'm not gossiping. This is not gossip, okay? I want you to be clear about that. I will not for one moment allow you to think that the information I'm about to give to you is gossip, it's innuendo, it's salty, it's salacious. No, it's got nothing to do with that. But here's the thing. Did you hear? Halakwadi akantu. Ushimani umfati wa PF alipokele more than $200,000 in donations from well-wishers. The money that was supposed to go towards Valungu's funeral. Did you know that those chaps have been given Winda, now been Raphael Hajakara Kachinda? Those chaps are the ones who are touching that money. More than $300,000, Vale. You didn't hear it from me, and it's not gossip. I'm just telling you. So the question is, that's the question. Now, there's some of you that you're going to go on your high horse and you're going to start. So, so what? What is your business in that money? Why are you sticking your nose in me? Well, the reason I'm sticking my nose is that this is a matter of public interest. Come on, guys. Must I spell out everything to you? Tell me in the comments. Say it in the comments. This is a matter of public interest. Say it in the comments. Somebody says, do you have a lawyer? Yes, we've got lawyers. But that's no guarantee to freedom. Tell you what, okay, let's just be clear. Say it in the comments. Say, this is a matter of public interest. Now, aside from that, did you know that 1.8 billion kwacha was raised from 9 aspiring PF presidential candidates? 1.8 billion kwacha was raised from 9 aspiring PF candidates, namely Avena Miles Sampa. Miles Sampa was the very first one who had the gumption. He had the courage. He's dumber than a box of hammers, but at least he had the courage to step up to the plate and say, I want to put my name forward for leadership. He took 200,000 kwacha cash. He took it to the PF secretary. You guys remember that day. Nixon Chilangwa was on hand to receive that money. Nixon balemina namate bale chitefi uku bale pende mpia uku Nixon melfia. The moment Miles left, Nixon Chilangwa got on the phone and told his homeboys, ala Miles naleta kuno 200,000 kwacha. Cash. It's here on my desk. No, mba iwe nga wachirwa iwe tawashimone. Love. It's your Waterloo. Bwana nisangu hapo. Iwe nga tawaisi pano 15 minutes. Wala sanga fenachi na shia. Endesha meno. That is what happened. Now, if they can ravage 200,000 kwacha from one candidate, namely Miles Sampa, because he's the one who opened the floodgates. When Miles did that, Abena Emmanuel Mwamba, Abena GBM, Abena all these chaps, they now got the courage to go to the secretariat and say, no, not tumfwa tumunensu Miles na leta 200,000 and nachita fao nomination papers for the presidency of the PF party. If we were just following, today konka mofi. Na if to aleta ama 200,000, wa Nixon Chilangwa baya pa phone. Bwana ni twali again. Na besa ama candidates bali 8. Chilamuntu baletele 200,000 kwacha. In total 1.8 million. Iwenga wachirwa love Elio, don't complain. Nisangu hapo bwana. Where are you? Iwe, iyo 15 minutes ulelu mbulata ya bombe. Wala sanga fena shia fye chance. That is how those chaps operate. Bantu ba PF nga omule mpia. Bala bilima. Mwashoku bilima. Kunjenjema. Fide balanda mchinyanja. Kunjenjema. Mchisungu balanda ti... they convulse. They have financial convulsions. Maisha convulsions. Ustif. Ngamana FMPia. By PF. So, if more than $200,000 was received from well-wishers from all over the world, not just from Chawama, not from Shangombo, not from Kanyama, not from Harry Mwangankumbla Ward 20 Chakutuko. No. It was from the whole world. People from PF supporters in the diaspora. We are tuma Bambiwale Tumama 1 pin, 10 pin, dollars, 15, all in an effort to honor the former and late president of this republic, Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Sean Sepe 300,000, more than $300,000 US. They don't even talk about it. Can they panya that money? Let me even take you further. Mulaibukisha mu 2021, you remember in 2021, the PF were convinced that they were going to win the 2021 elections. But alas, the Zambian people spoke in the opposite direction. When the PF saw that their fate had been sealed, what did they do? Bayabula Yenchendedia that was illegally grabbed from ZAF. That piece of land next to that edifice of International House of Prayer, that land that was earmarked for an ultra-modern PF secretariat. Ultra-modern. Ultra-modern meaning it was going to be a sight to behold. Ultra-modern meaning ngawaensha palya Papa Road pale wachimona chi PF secretariat. You are going to be in a state of papix. Waensha papix ukupapa. The PF were banking on this idea that inchendei mu 2021 ngatwa winner, we're going to build an ultra-modern PF secretariat, a facility so wow, so amazing, an edifice so grandiose that it will stop people in their tracks as they're passing by, as they're driving by. Abantu nga balechita papix ukupapa. Alas, the Zambian people spoke and said, no, we are not going with you chaps. We are going to go with this Hagainde Ichilema. The very one you don't want. This is the one we want. No, but he's a Tonga. We don't care about that. We just know that he's the one we want. When they lost, PF sold that land illegally for $1 million. This is an issue, but they never talk about it. PF never discusses this issue. Now, the people who were beneficiaries of that $1 million from the sale of that land were the top brass of the PF. Mwalishwe your language, top brass? Tell me in the comments, what does top brass mean? Whatever chikulile badia, abena Innocent Karimanshi, he was not top brass. Those chaps are grassroots. Abena Innocent Karimanshi did not receive not all $1 from the sale of that land, which was illegally acquired and illegally sold to a Chinese. The only people who benefited from that $1 million were the top brass of the PF. My question to you is, who? Name some members of the top brass. Just name them in the comments. Give me 3 names of people you think are the top brass of the PF. Just a few names. I mean, not many. Just name 2 or 3 people that you think are the top brass of who? The PF. Those are the chaps who benefited from the sale, the illegal acquisition of that land, number 1. The illegal sale of that land, they are the chaps who benefited. And the grassroots knew nothing about that money. So my question to you, Vane, is these chaps, when will the pilfering stop? Bantu, even in opposition, they are doing what they were doing when they were in government. Na more opposition, I mean, this is nonsense. I mean, for what? For who? For what? For? Come on, let's be serious. Let's be serious. All right, I thought I'd share that with you guys. It's a Wednesday afternoon, and I'll read a couple of your comments here. Guys, don't call him Zayelo. I think that's so wrong. Let me just also mention here, it's wrong. It's disingenuous. Let me give you a story. Let me finish that sentence first. It's wrong and disingenuous to refer to a given Lubinda as Zayelo. That is a discriminatory slur, is what that is. I'll give you an example. When I was a student many years ago, I met a guy who became a dear friend of mine, still one of my best friends, one of my greatest friends. He was from the Dominican Republic, okay? I used to call him Nando. He was just an amazing guy. Well, when I first met him, he had this thing. He would always call me. He would see me walking down the hall towards him or walking down the street. He would always yell, Haitiano! Maldito negro! Every time. Well, the first few times, I didn't pay any attention to that because I didn't know what Haitiano meant. I didn't know what Maldito negro meant. So he did that a couple of times, and then I noticed one day, I was walking down the hall towards him, and he yelled it. He said, Maldito negro! So I walked up to him and I said, Nando, when you do that, are you talking to me? He was from the Dominican Republic. The Dominican. He said, yeah. I said, what does that mean? What does it mean when you say Haitiano, first of all? And what does Maldito negro mean? What does that mean? He says, well, the truth is Haitiano means Haitian. Because, you know, the Dominican Republic shares the same island with Haiti. You know, you take the island, you split it down the middle. On one side is the Dominican Republic. On the other side is Haiti. You know, the failed state, Haiti. Ni Haiti. Mashilo. Last. Whatever. Fernando says to me, oh, Haitiano means Haitian. I said, Nando, I'm not a Haitian. I'm not from Haiti. I said, I'm from Zambia. Do you know where that is, Nando? I think it's somewhere in Africa. I said, yeah, you better believe it's in Africa. It's south of the Congo and north of northern Rhodesia, well, which is now Zimbabwe. I said, don't call me Haitian, Nando. And then what is this thing you yell? Maldito negro! What's that? He said, oh, it just means damn nigger. I said, what? He says, it's a term of endearment. I don't mean it in a bad way. It just means it's a term of endearment. It's not a bad thing. I said, Nando, have you lost your cotton-picking Dominican salsa hot sauce eating mind? The hell you gonna call me Maldito negro, damn nigger? I don't mean anything by it. I said, well, listen, you're cruising for a bruising. Okay, you want a knuckle sandwich, I said to him. I said, Nando, you call me that one more time, I'm gonna stuff you underneath that bus over there. My name is Mwewa, and I'm from Zambia. Do not call me Maldito negro. Okay, man, okay. It was just a term of endearment. I said it's not a term of endearment. It's offensive. It's downright offensive, and I'm not going to stand for it. Not now, not ever. He never called me that again. You know why? Because I told him in that meeting, I said, you're cruising for a bruising. Okay, I'm going to give you a knuckle sandwich. Oh, I ought to knock you one. I said to him, I said, well, here's the thing, guys. What you think is a term of endearment, when you refer to a given Lubinda as Zayelo, which means a light-skinned person, you are not saying it. It would be like a black American introducing a candidate and saying, we have decided to select our leader, and the leader that's going to take this party to greater heights is this nigga here. That wouldn't set well with some black people. While it may be a joke to you, while it may sound like a term of endearment to you, it is a discriminatory racial slur. My admonition, nay, my prompting to you, when you see Wagive Nobinda, do not yell, Zayaro! Don't do that. That's disrespectful. Call him by his real name. Honorable Given Lubinda. All right. I'm glad we're clear on that. Thanks for watching, guys. Love you.